Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Twerk 17 was delayed by weather coming back from PAX, so I was asked to sub in for this week's podcast. The Redacted Podcast is a weekly interactive rundown of what happened in Star Citizen. This is not my regular content, but I'm uploading it for you now, just in case you missed it. I hope you enjoy.
It is Wednesday, March 15th, 2017. Hope everybody's doing well. This is another episode of Redacted, brought to you by Antlion Audio, creators of the Mod Mic 4 and the new Mod Mic 5. If you have an existing headset, you can add these on to make it a super awesome pair of gaming headphones with mic included. Go check them out. ! Mod Mic in chat. I sound like shit. I know I sound like shit. I'm super sick.
That's not the Mod Mic's fault.
That's not my mic's fault. That's my own fault. That's not even my fault. That's Pax's fault. It's Pax's fault, guys.
Yeah, fuck you, Pax.
Yeah, Pax. How do you feel? How do you feel about that? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mate.
I liked your rig. Man. That was really fun.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Like a cyborg, like a Terminator.
That's what my nickname was Cyborg. But yeah, what have you guys been up to over this past week? I haven't been able to keep up with too much Star Citizen stuff because I've been, crazy busy. But
okay, Gordon and I have been holding it down.
Why don't we start with you guys? Noobifier, what have you been up to this past week? I can hear
again. I mean, this is the third time in recent history that I've been on. So if you don't know who I am, I'm the Noobifier. I'm not Twerk. Don't worry. It's not like a Twerk needs a diet or something.
So I'm gonna step in real quick. Twerk got stuck. I almost got stuck in Boston. My flight was canceled and I had to change last minute. I was lucky and went through United's Premier service, and so they got me on a flight earlier. If I hadn't gone through them, if I just went through the normal pleb service from United, I would still be in Boston for like a week. Dude, it would have sucked.
Yeah, tell us what you really think.
Yeah. So, well, no, they have like different tiers, right? Like for first class and everything, the Premier people. I want to note that I'm not like Premier or anything. I didn't like spend the extra money. I just went to that booth instead because I was like, look, this is not cool. And then and they were super nice and helped me out. And that's why I'm able to be here.
Cyborg.
Holy crap! Put that guy through security, quick.
Yeah. Oh fuck! What's this Terminator-looking motherfucker? Yeah. But anyways,
like
so
Twerk thing going on too.
Twerk wasn't able to make it because he's still flying right now. So the weather on the east coast of the United States and Canada is ridiculous right now. So yeah, that's why. But anyways, Noob, what have you been up to?
So if you want to go see how bad the weather is where I am, the reason I'm on stream and not outside doing something, you can go check out my Twitter. There's like 60 centimeters of snow.
So do you have a tweet up? I'll pull it up.
A picture of that. Yeah, it was. It's legit, and that's not just me moving the snow on my door to make a dramatic picture. That was legit. So dropships and gunships. I had fun with that one. That was a video I pumped out a little while ago. I updated my intro video because it was old stock. Tons of fun to do that. A lot of people gave it, some good props. I'm continuing to work with the job series, which has been really popular. Fuel just came out, which was interesting because it's only really one ship with two variants. And again, every time I researched these videos, I think I would have done it anyways. I would have researched it, but I like to formulate it in that format that everyone seems to like, and then pump it out for you guys so that you can get everything you need under 10 minutes. These videos are pretty long for me, but there's a lot of goodness in there. Did Tony Z in a minute and 35 seconds. That was a personal vendetta because everyone, Tony Z is awesome, but he also...
Did you just realize that you did the term, then when you were talking about Tony Z?
Oh,
did you not? That was Tony Zception.
The Tony is in my brain. I know. I was watching... Anyways, I went back and watched a bunch of stuff to make the video, and that's probably where that came from. But I Twerk did it too, though, on the stream immediately after. Anyways, tangent. See? Tony, again.
There you go. Tony.
So we're going to talk about that 10 for the Tony pretty soon. The patrons have supported my channel again. So this month we're going to be giving away your choice, LTI Hull D, Crucible, Reclaimer, Carrick, or Gemini, Star G. Yeah, and that's really all I got. I'm working on the cargo in the next video for cargo, job series cargo.
Nice.
But using all the new stuff we just found out. Mic drop.
There you go. Yeah, no worries. And this episode might not be very long, guys, because I am feeling like hot garbage. So I did want to make sure that we came on and we're good. We'll get some stuff out, but it may not be the 2 hours that we're used to.
Questions. Yeah.
Board Gamer.
Yeah, hello, that's me.
Hi.
You may remember me from such places as YouTube and Twitch.
And the bathroom at the Star Citizen party.
Oh yeah. that was specially for you, Saurus. No one else saw that.
I know, that's especially
That
for
was
me.
literally just for your special stream.
Do you wear
just
that?
for
Do you wear that shirt because it makes your arms feel all muscular?
It makes me feel like I'm on Star Trek.
The sleeves are too small for me, like circumference-wise.
I got little arms, mate. I'm quite tubby, but I got little arms like a T-Rex. Let's not do that again. Let's not do the sounds of dinosaurs ever again. So I have actually been playing loads of Star Citizen, capturing loads of footage recently.
Yeah.
Been like getting some stuff done with hardware. I've ordered a Ryzen CPU. I've ordered my 1080 Ti, so I'm waiting for that. And I've just been prepping myself for 2.6.2 to go to the Evocati build, which I'm assuming is probably this week.
Yeah, I was hoping that it was going to be to the PTU by today.
It might be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
is
know.
Is it in Evocati now?
Not that I have seen.
Okay.
No. Okay. But it's just bug fixes. So how much testing does that need, I guess?
Yeah, true.
We'll see.
True. Right on. That's it, I guess?
That's enough. I mean, we're going to be talking
yeah.
about Star Citizen in a minute. That's all I fucking do.
It's true.
I play Star Citizen, play some Rust, and then you and Twerk take the piss out of me for playing Rust. Like,
Yeah.
If Board takes over the Redacted Podcast on Wednesday, it'll be about a different game.
That's not how he talks.
That's how he talks to me.
Okay.
That's
how
how
I
I
talk?
hear him.
That's how you hear me? Awesome.
With his hands
Yeah.
going and everything.
Yeah, like Zoidberg. Just running off. Like a Zoidberg.
He's going to fly out there and visit you.
What about you, Saurus? What did you get up to?
Obviously, I was at PAX. I was there for 5 days. It was a good time. Hung out with Twerk for 3 of those days. Twerk was there from Friday until Monday morning. And met a bunch of people, a bunch of really cool people. Hung out with Xylo a lot too, because Xylo and Lando happened to be staying in the same hotel we were in. So Twerk and Lando would hang out because they would be like, "Oh, I don't want to go out. I just want to go relax." And me and Xylo would be like, "Fuck yeah, let's go out." So we'd go out and whatever. We got one of those Ubers you hear about with all the party lights and everything. I put a video of that.
I actually saw that. It was
on
really
my
cool.
Twitter and whatever. But yeah, we did all kinds of cool adventures, taking Uber rides. We went, and you can see here Twerk opening the door. Like, it was so windy and cold there. It was ridiculous. But we did end up taking a boat across. Because where we were across from the actual city. So it was like, okay, well, we'll go and take this boat. And it was cool. But man, the weather there was friggin' cold. It was like, here, let me see if I can buffer ahead.
You didn't have rig, like when you were in the cab, did you have to take it off, or
No,
could you
I
just
didn't have to take it off. No, I
Yeah,
wore it
so
everywhere.
They were chatting to their captain of their boat taxi while he was wearing it.
Yeah,
I was watching
everything.
that
So
on
my
the
hands
stream.
were free and everything as well. So it
You
was
still have
really
a big
cool. I had a
battery
lot
in
of
the
fun
back or
with
something?
it. Yeah, I had 2 extra batteries in the back.
Nice.
And it lasted 9 days on a Friday, or 9 hours on the Friday, 6 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. Those were the 3 days that I streamed.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. Yeah, just going around. Like, you can see me and Twerk hanging out the whole time. So it was like both of us chilling and yeah, just having a good time overall. But I am glad to be back because I don't like the cold. And now I'm sick, obviously. But yeah,
Everyone's sneezing on you.
Yeah, and if anybody else wants to go see those and they missed out on the IRL streams, just go to my channel and go to the videos. There's a whole bunch. It cut down. Like, there was a couple days, I think the Saturday, it crashed a lot because of the convention and the connection to the internet. But the Sunday, it was really well. And we got, like, things like chat got to choose what we ate and all kinds of cool stuff.
Eat shit. Was it like that a lot? Just constantly. I mean, I'm just thinking what my chat would say to me.
You weren't there.
Yeah, that's not one of the options.
Yeah,
that's not an option. No.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump in before we get into the content here. If anybody has any questions, !question in chat. Fill out the doc, and we will get to those at the end. We're gonna try and burn through this as quickly as possible because I want to. I don't think I'm gonna stream after this. I think I'm just gonna. Obviously, Power Rangers is on Twitch, and I'm gonna cuddle up in pajamas in my living room and watch Power Rangers and die. So
okay.
Okay.
It's legit.
So this is what we're gonna do. We'll jump in the news. Noobifire, if you want to read it.
Sure. So we got the Evocati build soon. 2.6.2 was released as a schedule. Mega map, multiplayer, more flight, more balance, bug fixes, and network optimization. So if you're expecting like new content, you may not want to set your sights there, but understand it's iterative and it's still good. Like, we need fixes.
As I put in the document, we could get a sneaky ship or something like that.
I was getting to that.
Well, I know, but I'm interjecting with that to look like I'm intelligent. That's how the document works. I quickly interject. Look, it's written in italics. Board interjects. Look smart. No.
Okay.
So we might get a ship. Like, we know the Dragonfly is pretty ready. We know that the Cutlass Black reworks pretty close to completion. The Constellation Aquila we've seen. The Buccaneer could be a ship that they drop in. We might see some of that. You might see none of that. I'd like to hype stuff when I think it might be happening.
It would be awesome. Everyone complains that, why do we need more ships? The reality is that it doesn't impact on the game development. It's not like those people are going to be working on the ships anyways. Gives us more toys to play with. And anyone that did pledge for those ships now gets the joy of using it.
Out of that list, I can tell you the Connie Aquila and the Dragonfly will not be coming with 262.
Yeah, well, there's for 3.0, aren't they?
Yeah, those are 3.0 specific ships because of the mechanics in 3.0. The other ones, the Cutlass Black and the Buccaneer, they could come before if they're done. But the other ones, they're not going to happen. The Dragonfly, if there's no planets to fly around on them, no deal. And the Connie Aquila for the exploration stuff, no dice. So.
And definitely not Prospector, because that's pretty much a dead ringer for 3.0 as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So maybe that's why I was saying board, maybe no ships. It's possible.
It's possible there will be no ships. There's possible there will be some ships.
Right.
I like to live on a prayer sometimes. Give me
just
free. Give me extra stuff.
We're going to change it from board gamer to Bond gamer because he's living on a prayer. Nobody get that joke? Or is it just that bad? It's just bad.
No, you're ill. You're delirious.
Okay.
Freelancer variance is a question that's coming up, and it's funny. Everyone always asks me that in my 2.6.2 update, and I know Board Gamer, they probably asked you as well. It wasn't actually on the schedule report, so I'm not a game developer, and I can't tell you when it is. That's up to them, really. I know that sounds salty, but it's not. I just don't know. I want them just as bad as you guys.
Randomly elaborate. We can randomly take a stab in the dark here, though. I mean, you won't because you don't do bullshit. Whereas, I mean, I like to pad my videos with a little bit of bullshit.
We call it meat.
Yeah, thank you.
Meat.
We do call it meat.
Moving on.
Ridiculous. Moving forward.
So we got trade and shopping. So with that, we got a list of commodities, and you've got your ore, gas, food, vice, and medical. And then those are going to get fleshed out even further. Those are the main categories. Obviously, that's not the extent of it, but that's what that's what they're shooting for 3.0. That's the nice way of saying it.
And just to be
clear,
of
course, all those
people who don't know what vice is, that's like alcohol, drugs, gambling.
Right.
Narcotics.
Right. Yeah. Now, then the cool thing is, in the future, the way I see this is you have both, good and bad. So vices could be legal vices, or they could be illegal vices, just like you could have legal medical and illegal medical. So there'd be tons of stuff for Soros to move around, and there'd be a ton of stuff for a lawful person to go try and capture him, right? So it's neat. They had a document, like a spreadsheet with all, actually it was more like a flow chart that had all the items and what they meant and how they interacted with each other. And it was very nice to see that level of thought being put into it, because I know it's important. Cargo is going to be the one thing that everyone can do in the game, right? Moving something.
It's incredibly important for the economy for them to nail down now what the major categories of goods are. Even if they just have filler goods in those subcategories. But having can't fucking remember them all now that you've just listed.
Sorry.
Having all of them already fleshed out in basic is just so important.
Right. So gas could be a bunch of things, like it doesn't have to be fuel perhaps. It could be something else. And same thing with food. It's not just food, a box of food. It's going to be a type of food. Neat. So same thing with guns. Weapons should be able to be grabbed, though, like grabby hands.
Right. And like what we do now, right, with weapons.
Yeah. Well, and then it's the same thing. It's equip or carry. You can have a choice when you select on it, which is always neat. I'm hoping to see that actually come.
Well,
in the game,
as we'll talk about in a bit, when they were talking about the special edition of Temple of the Chairman, and recently we've seen in like ATVs and stuff, the object manipulation stuff, where they do want you to like grab a weapon or grab an item and then flick it around, turn it around, put batteries in it, put it in a drawer, put the drawer away.
Right.
And it persists in the drawer. I mean, the level of detail for all the grabby hand stuff is pretty cool.
So with trade and shopping, there's not enough store right now to support the type of economy that they're trying to work on. So they're looking at your truck stop. There's the TDD, which we probably won't see.
They looked really cool in the video as well. Yeah, I don't have video clips for you guys, but it was I remember seeing that and it looked really cool.
Yeah. So you have your TDD, which is like the Area 18, which is your main hub. And then you've got satellite TDDs, which are your admin office. That's another place that you can drop. It's like an ATM instead of a bank. It's the same thing. You can get the functionality of the store without having to be there. And then the truck stop where you can buy and sell goods. So it's nice. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, with the Answers, with the truck stop stuff, do we think that's going to be like Astro with extra shops on?
I think so. Like I'm leaning more towards the Comrays, except for stores instead of satellites.
That's what I was thinking. So
technically they'd still be satellites. They'd be stores instead of communication.
Right. So they could have a truck stop at Port Olisar, but there's nothing stopping them from having like almost like a shitty gas station you see on the side of the highway. Like you're nothing, and then boom, you've got a Quickie Mart with a gas station right there, and it's super convenient. And then they're talking about local economy with that, because that thing being so far away, it might offer you a better price for what you have to sell than maybe something that's high traffic like Port Olisar. So they're trying to get into that iterative economy. They were talking about it being locked down first, and then they're going to see how it goes, and then they're going to release it to be a more dynamic economy. So it'll be regulated. It'll seem like it'll work right, but it won't be working the way it's finally intended. So you could actually go to a place and flood a market and then throw the prices off, which is kind of neat. That's what I want out of the game, right?
Yeah, but I remember that they won't let you do too much of that, and that it's still going to be controlled via NPCs and ultimately CIG, because they don't want people to be ruining markets and things like that overall.
Right.
And then they have a new
board? Yeah.
They have a new shop type, the admin office buying and selling station imports and exports, but it also contains a job board to sell and the ability to sell rental space. This will appear in areas without the full job wells, like we saw in Area 18. I don't have anything else to add to that. If you do, feel free.
Well, they just say they had 4 or 5 of different versions of that office.
That was the one where they showed the different versions of the offices and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it looked like it had the same terminal that they had at TDD, but in the store with like a little counter and everything. So it really does look like a gas station a truck stop. It looks exactly like what they described it as. It's really neat. So moving on, right?
I mean, I don't think we're going to see rental space in 3.0. We might.
Rental space isn't like I can rent and set up a store.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading the notes, but I don't think we're going to see that initially either.
No.
So
like ad space or whatever.
No, I think it would be more space for hangars for you to store cargo.
Your own. So yeah, you could store your cargo before selling it. You could.
Yeah, and hoard.
Okay.
If you wanted to, and have like.
That would be neat.
Indeed, but I'm not sure if that's going to be for 3.0 or if they meant that for later. It could be for 3.0. I mean, that was in reference to 3.0, but there's some stuff that I think that a little bit later down the line.
Between you and me, if anything's going to get dropped off before release, that sounds like one of those things that would be potentially complicated that they may just throw it to 3.1. Because it's not necessary. You can go pick up gear and drop it off at the store and get credit for it, which is pretty much one step away from what we have now, which is you can go get the booze, and finish the mission. So it's a nice logical step. Next.
Yeah, you're in charge, man. You're in charge.
Okay.
Giver. I don't know what. I don't
you're
know
not
what
feeling well.
Is.
That's right.
I'm like fucking out of it.
So yeah, Squadron 42 is getting some polished passes with this. The Retaliator and Connie were optimized once again, which is interesting to hear because the Connie, as everyone knows, has already been redone, and now it's flying. So now I'm actually curious to see, does it mean lighting, clipping, textures, all that kind of stuff? Or does it mean that the table will finally work and the beds might work and the washroom? I know that I think the Caterpillar got the washroom.
It will probably be both. I mean, it's very likely that they'll have updates and material passes and stuff like that constantly. Like those ships don't need extra reworks, but they will need to be updated visually. They will need to have materials passes, stuff like that constantly improves the level of detail slightly. And again, with optimization stuff. So as well as making tables work. So I think that probably is right.
And then the Cutlass Black, we've seen that again. It looks really good now. Like, not that it didn't look good before, but it was just, basic texture. Now you can see the interior. It looks very much like the Caterpillar, all green strapping and yellow tubes and everything. So it's nice that they're carrying that theme over. It's going to give that brand a real, the feeling they're looking for, where you get in, you wake up in a ship, it's a Drake ship just by looking at it. And that's realistic. And that's the detail that we want.
It looks so good though.
Yeah.
Like that interior, it's night and day compared to the old one.
And there was an interesting shot because we saw from the turret back that on a kind of an angle. So you can actually see that double door and ramp is all one room, which is really, really practical. Like if that was a real vehicle, that gives you some very good options for boarding, unloading cargo or anything like that. And I know that there's a bulkhead that separates the flight from that cargo room. And then there's another crew quarters off to the side of the turret. So again, I'm really interested to get my hands on that and see what they've actually done, because that's going to, again, define what we're going to see in the future with like the Cutlass Red and Cutlass Blue. Mm-hmm. I still hope that they put some kind of divider in the red so that you can open the back door without killing the people you're trying to recover, right, on the beds. But we'll see. I don't know how that's going to work out.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, you would want it to be more safe, wouldn't you, for them?
A little bit.
You're talking about the Drake
ambulance.
So
the Cutlass Red. So you open the door and eject the air.
No. We already know that there's going to be similar to what we have in Star Marine, those invisible shields that you'll be able to go through.
Nice.
It's just the side doors don't have those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the side doors open on the Red as well, though. I think.
Yeah, but you'll have to be careful about those. Because those will then...
Just be careful.
But
in the same way you need to be careful with your FPS weapon while running around the ship. Not to shoot yourself. Okay, fair enough.
That's great.
And then the Cutlass is also divided down the middle horizontally from the back cargo area and the other area. So the interior of the... Then that's how we know for the Cutlass Black. But for the Red, we don't know if that's going to be different or not. That could be different. It could be further back or whatever.
Okay, moving on. The gray box for Prospector, that's obviously complete. I mean, we've seen the the beauty pass of the 3D, and then now we saw the mechanism of how the laser comes out and how the lights and everything are set up, how the landing gear opens and closes. That ship, originally I thought it was the size of a Freelancer, but it looks a lot smaller. It actually looks smaller than a Freelancer, which is neat because that's supposed to be your solo crew, your solution for mining, right? So I'm eager to see that. I know that as soon as we get 3.0 and planetary landing and mining, that the community is going to kick up, because all the guys that are waiting for that type of gameplay that's not Arena Commander or going looking for Benny's machines, people actually want something other than going to Korea and picking up a bottle of booze. They want the ability to go make money somewhere else and see what the future of the game's going to be. So I actually see the community at 3.0 with all of that. You're going to get those people that play 10 hours a day just grinding for something. And it's not what I would do, but I'm going to do it a little bit just to test it, because I actually think it's going to be neat to test it out.
10 hours a day, a little bit. Just a little bit of that.
A little bit of 10 hours a day.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Right. So then again, we saw the Drake Buccaneer animations. Again, that's why we're saying it's close to being released. We may see it soon. It's really neat the way that the ship, basically, to me, it looks like an X-Wing with the engines the way they are and the way the canopy opens and everything. When that launched, it was very cool to see what CIG was doing with the weapons, and they've carried that kind of crazy glass cannon idea over to the Hurricane. So again, mixing up the sphere Arena Commander, it might actually be dominant in that and make the Super Hornet and Super Saber not something.
Unlikely,
there was
though.
talk. Unlikely, right? I mean, those are your tier 1 and tier 2 fighters. It makes sense that the mainstream fighter should be super powerful. Did you guys hear about Super Saber? Did either of you hear about that?
So someone mentioned it, and Ben says, I haven't heard of it, which he normally says when he knows about it.
When he knows something is up.
Because then someone said about Eclipse, and he went, I suggest that anyone that mentions Project Eclipse should report them to the nearest UEE garrison or something. And then he talks about the 600 and says, I've never heard of it.
So you went away from it. Now, bullshit time. Would a Super Saber be a 2-seater if a Super Hornet is a 2-seater? Or could you just see it as a beefy Saber with maybe a chin canard on it or something?
I mean, it might not necessarily even be beefy. If they do like a super version of the ship, it might have an extra hard point or two. It doesn't need to be bigger or stronger. It might have room for a bigger power plant or a bigger engine, something like that. For the Saber, it being super just makes it better for its role, in my opinion.
Okay.
Power.
Obviously, that's me being a PMC member. Obviously, a better Saber is obviously interesting for me. So I don't know if you guys don't have any comments on that. I just kind of brought that up because
I don't really have any.
I feel ill.
I do.
Right, so we also
just keep going.
You're along for the ride.
I'm here to control the scenes.
Nice. So we had updates on the animation for the NPCs, so that it wouldn't just be everyone. It was a table within an Icarus, and it was like you're watching people sit down and eat, and they're talking about making it so that the player would in real time, or the NPC in real time, would sit down, do realistic things, pepper, eat, get up and leave, and put his tray away. But that not everything would look the same all the time, which is nice to see, right? Obviously,
some variance is always good.
Exactly. That iteration within some improvements on friends, contact, invites, and notification, which we're going to talk about maybe near the end, because I have some good news about a discussion I had with Turbulent with regards to some stuff in Spectrum, diffusion network, meaning potentially higher player count and better stability, or a combination of both. And then more
everything over to that diffusion core now that they can.
Right. And then more Spectrum. Which
Spectrum.
More Spectrum is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So BG, I've been talking a lot. You want to tackle?
I was going to say, still no news about the Delta Patcher, yeah?
No.
No news about Delta Patcher. I get thousands of questions a day, like I know something more than other people. We do know that they've got an internal build of the Delta Patcher, and we know that it's going to be in our hands.
And they want it.
As soon as possible.
We know that they want it. We just...
Oh, okay. Board, happy hour. It's all you, buddy.
Oh my God, I am the worst at reading. I'm very good at not reading. So there was a round table basically from Happy Hour, which looked at the different disciplines from various people at CIG. And there was a few little tidbits of information that I picked out from there. Atmospheric flight will be affected by gravity. We were talking about that last week.
Yeah.
And we were like, will it affect gravity? It should, but we don't know. We haven't talked about it before. Yes, it will be affected by gravity, and different gravities will affect your ship differently. The railgun, that's the shoulder-mounted one.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew. They are working on that. I think it's nearly finished. It's with animation, and they're making it feel like a railgun when you fire it. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
Very few people IRL have fired a railgun. And I think that they probably have very low recoil. Because I was thinking,
Yeah.
are you going to get like a big recoil? But
So
No.
they wouldn't do a
railguns
railgun, would you?
don't. No, a railgun is something. It accelerates.
Railgun shoots an aluminum slug at almost supersonic velocity. It's going to have recoil.
I thought it was magnetic.
It is
It
magnetic.
is magnetic, but that doesn't mean it's not throwing mass that way.
I suppose I don't know. I've
It's
never
gonna have
fired. I've never fired a railgun.
Think of like
Although-
shooting a 12 gauge slug. That's to me what
Yeah.
that's what I would
Yeah.
expect a railgun to do. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it has a high skill requirement, and that it requires more than just one or two random guys blowing up a ship from the hip.
If anyone knows of a place in Canada, America, or the UK where you can go to fire a railgun, please email me or message me. I will get one of us to go and fire a railgun, and then we can have knowledge on that. I will find out somewhere that
Go
does
do it in real life, yes.
Yeah, we will do it in real
I
life.
I
don't-
think that they're like
I think-
mounted on ships.
America
I think
is
they're really
gonna,
big.
Yeah, I think America is going to be your best option out of the three.
I'm sure someone's made one like on a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah,
They've just,
maybe.
like made one out of a microwave or something.
Road trip.
Yeah, road trip, man.
Road
So AI, they talk about AI a little bit,
Mhm.
and they say that AI are going to be able to loot objects, like kind of freely, and loot players as well, which I was like, yeah, that's terrifying that AI will be able to loot you. The plan is to eventually have proper melee and hand-to-hand combat, as well as ways to counter it at the moment. So they were talking about this. Lots of people don't like countering melee attacks and stuff like that you have in Battlefield.
Yeah,
But they're still fleshing out the system. They don't know exactly how they're going to do it. And obviously, once they have something, we'll get to have our opinion on it anyway. So if it's crap or people hate it, then we'll get it changed.
quick thing, real quick.
Mm.
I'm going to be right back. I have to go to the washroom.
All right.
Yeah, no worries. And you're going to be able to do takedowns and stealth kills as well. We saw that on the Gamescom demo, not Gamescom demo, the other demo, CitizenCon demo.
Sitcom, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a knifes the guy from the neck. Like,
I want those takedowns to be quite brutal.
yeah.
And I think that if you do get behind a player and do a proper stealth takedown, that they should be able to counter it. Because you're
Okay.
not aware. You get
What about
stabbed in the kidneys.
But what about permadeath? That's
What
a
about
whole
permadeath?
other okay, doing it on NPC all day, all night, no problem. But yes, it's skillful. You get behind someone, you should be rewarded by doing a takedown on them. But does that put them back in character development?
No, it shouldn't be an
brutal.
instant death. It should be a
Yeah.
kill like you've just blown up their ship or whatever. Like you knife them in the back, you take them down. I mean, I'm
Right.
not talking about. I think that's reasonable, and I'm not
Yeah.
talking about like trying to glitch behind players while you're fighting.
Fucking
But, like,
pop out of the wall.
yeah, I'm talking about like you just someone's a console.
Okay.
You can knife them, take them down. I think that's reasonable, and yeah, I think that's skillful. I mean, I don't want the time to kill on players to be too high.
No. But I know what's going to happen is as we get closer and closer, you're going to get, too much, too little, too much, too little, and it's normal. And I'm even experiencing now in 2.6.1 that I'm currently not, like, I've just gone from a 2.5 high where it's fun to play, and 2.6 changed, but it was still fun. 2.6.1, either it's netcode or weapons. I know I've harped on this before. I don't find it fun to fly in Arena Commander this patch. So I'm very much looking forward to 2.6.2. Hopefully that has made it to CIG, and they're going to do a pendulum back to where I can have fun.
I totally agree with you. I mean,
Yeah.
at the moment, the flight model in 2.6.1 is just not my cup of tea. I'm just not
Right.
enjoying it.
I'm used to
the
hitting
balance.
targets over and over again, like accurately, and I feel that I'm shooting the same place, but the gun's going not where I'm aiming it, and it's whatever. I can't put my finger on it, but
oddly, I'm really enjoying Star Marine at the moment, though.
Right. Well, I mean, you would. You now have your own local server and you have your better netcode and everything. So yeah, of course, that's going to be like really good for you.
But so let's get slightly back on topic. Let's finish off this happy hour thing. We are going to have some functionality, or at least display of ship data on helmets and HUDs on helmets. But the main way of interacting with the ship's data will be the multifunction displays and those monitors around your ship. Character creation in its first iteration will be picking from a selection of heads with some edits, but the future will be the customization of the face that we saw from like the 3 lateral demo, and a lot more of that and a lot more cool stuff. And that 3 lateral demo was awesome. Like that was, the database is amazing. We're going to be able to change those facial features in the future with
the different sliders and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're not sure exactly how they're going to skin it, but that's basically the functionality of it.
Yeah, the functionality was there in its basic form, for sure.
Now, this is a bit of a tangent, but I watched a streamer who does nothing but goes to various games and tries to make the most disgusting... Any game that has sliders, like Skyrim or something like that, he tries to make the most disgusting character. Like, he choose super ugly skin, super ugly nose, short, and then he goes out into the world and streams for a bit like that. It sounds stupid, but it's actually pretty funny because, I mean, it's 2 guys and they're talking about how bad. Do you think that CIG is going to prevent us from making like a mongoloid-looking, crazy, weird character?
Yeah,
like
I don't think. I think that they're gonna. That's the whole purpose of the slider stuff, right? Is because it limits to what is. In the realm of realism, you'll still be able to make ugly people. But
right, but not like
it won't be. It just won't be like ridiculous proportions. That's not realistic.
Really.
Will we be able to make a character with my egg head? I mean,
they should just scan you. Just scan you. You could have everyone in your org look the same. Just a bunch of board gamers running around. It's like, oh my god, like 200 BGs.
Oh my god, that's going to be amazing. That's a great idea, dude. I think
almost regret that I said it.
It makes it hard for you to be able to do that because basically it changes the shape of your skull and stuff based on the eyes and stuff, how you change them, and it changes your muscles and your joints so that it does look anatomically correct-ish. Like, there are going to be edge cases and there are going to be ways to just go, fuck it, I want my thing to look like a weird alien man.
Right, I want a really, really big chin for no reason.
Yeah. And some people do have really big chins. You've got to remember, that chin was scanned in from someone. So when you're making those edge cases with like really weird looking people, you're going, well, this character looked weird. This guy looked weird. Who is this guy? You can look him up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So that's pretty much it for that one. I think the next thing we've got is, are we going to do Ben Q&A or do you want to do Tony Z?
Well, let's do Tony Z first.
Okay. So I think yesterday, Chris Roberts and Tony Z, who, if you don't know, is the producer in charge of the Persistent Universe, he answered a bunch of questions that were upvoted on Spectrum, which is, I think, like, I support that big time, because that way you know that they're not just skimming the questions and choosing the ones that they want to answer. Some guy even took the questions that he scanned as being the most popular and brought it over to Reddit, I think almost as a way of keeping CIG a little bit accountable. That's a good way of describing it.
That it had already been filmed by then, and the list was pretty accurate to what happened.
Yeah,
which is good to see.
And in reality, I think that type of show, to me, rinse repeat should be able to be done. And I mean, the whole segment was 50 minutes.
Clarification: Tony Z is a designer, not a producer.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Wrong word. No. But basically, he's in charge of the not producing but designing. Right, the Persistent Universe.
Right.
So, but basically the questions were answered, and these are all very, very good questions that we were interested in, and this is a good indication of what we're going to end up with in the future. So, one of the questions was to do with if you take something from your ship and you put it in a store, does it appear in the store? The answer was, to a point, yes, but it will be a representation, right? It's not going to be like you move one ear of corn over and there it is on the counter. It's not a perfect 1-to-1. They're going to try to make it so that you can still do the grabby hands. But if you had to do grabby hands on something like a Halt E, right, you're trying to offload with Argos or something like that, then there has to be some kind of automatic system. They hadn't decided on it, but they're going to give you the choice of both, like a mixture of both, which is great because I actually want that immersion from going into like an Aurora, picking up the box and going, but not having to do that for a Halt E. Salvaging it's been confirmed that it's going to be both scavenging and scrapping. So there's two parts for that job path, and that's you can go up to a derelict hull and know that, let's say, that weapon, that size 7 cannon is good to go, release it and bring it on board, and that could be the end of your day. Or if you really wanted to get into it and you had like safe space, you could start to rip apart the raw material and then try to take that for salvage. So there's two ways. There's two ways of getting money off that.
And that's it, isn't it? There's a mixture of risk reward there, but also there is time involved. Like, do I want to scrap the entire hull of this ship?
Right. Or just want the
material's worth it or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So they specifically said experienced players will know where to look and how to scan and how to get those parts off quick, and then you move them over and you can leave and let it be someone else's problem to pick up the hulk of that ship.
Yeah.
So we're also doing when they're flying around, it's not just going to be simple like A to B. There will be interesting things on the way, and that's their way of kind of breaking up the monotony of, because there was a discussion, do we want the 30-second flight or do we not want the 10-minute flight? Right. This is a great way to make it so if you're on a 10-minute flight that you can get up, walk around, and do other things, and then you may get interdicted, or you may see something out the left window that you might want to look at, like a black hole or some kind of a storm or something like that. So it's going to be neat that way. Plus, you have, if you discover something, you can decide whether or not that's worth money if you want to try to report back on it, and it could interfere with your safety. So not just point A to point B, do something, stuff like that. And if you guys want, please interrupt me and if you have something to add.
Keep going.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
We're talking about now. So remember the demo that Twerk was doing, the Star Marine release, I think it was anniversary. So Twerk was shooting up the glass and the glass was breaking apart, and people were like, well, that's so cool because it's destructible. It didn't look polished, but it was very cool to see that was a thing. But then the question was, I think on the next podcast, was if you blow out the windows at SBK, is that for everyone? And when do the windows come back and how do they come back? So they confirmed that there will be some places like Olisar that you won't be able to blow up the window because that will ruin it for like technically hundreds of thousands of players if that's the main hub.
Yeah.
But on one of those far out stations,
like Korea or something.
Windows, Korea, you blow out the windows, it's real, and then that would create an NPC job. So you might see, a little ship like an Argo come by, and dudes come out and fix the glass and then leave. And it's very cool to see that because that was one of the big questions I had. Because like in some other games, you blow up something and it has to be seen like that for everyone for it to be realistic. But then who fixes it, right? Are we going to see a guy arrive, or is it just going to materialize? So
they kind of talked about it with objects and those destructibles and stuff with a level of importance. So they literally said some stuff is important. So a ship or a window or whatever, if that explodes or whatever, or is in a particular place, that stays there. A ship that parks stays there. But ammo that you fire out and decals and stuff like that, that's not important and will fade over time. But some objects might fall in between that and like might despawn after a little while or whatever. So, I mean, I love what they're doing with destructibles. I hope they do, like with the glass exploding and stuff like that, if you did it at Korea, they do it, the most simple option for that. So they depressurize it like a ship.
Yeah, explosive decompression would be awesome. I know that they did a demo of that. Right, and the doors come down.
Yeah, and then you want the doors to come down. Yeah. And I'd be kind of happy with the glass respawning while those shutters are down, eventually. Like you get some NPCs to mill around.
Yeah, and it could be that like they could just model it that the door comes down, but the door is two pieces, and some guys come and they do something, and then the doors go back up again and they fly away.
absolutely
Super
perfect.
easy.
You can suspend my disbelief. That's perfect. That's exactly nice and simple. I like that idea. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see them do anything too complicated.
Like actually move the pane of glass and screwdriver, and it's kind of...
You can interrupt the NPCs while they're trying to do it. And
Hey,
they have to get another piece of glass, which becomes a job in the job system. That glass has to be forged.
No, too much.
Yeah, too much.
Too much. Another cool thing was they were talking about persistence, being that if you were in the middle of some desert somewhere, you dropped your gun, that if it's an important item, not like the analogy was a bubblegum wrapper, just throw it, it'll disappear. But if you drop something of value that's unique, it will stay there, which to me means someone could come along and pick it up, or or you could come back and pick it up. I mean, it should be interactable if it's in the middle of nowhere and on the ground. So that level of persistence is also very very interesting and exciting. It offers all kinds of possibilities, because you could actually do like almost a drug deal where you drop off a crate and then fly away, and some other guy comes in and it's there, right? It's timings need to be met, and it opens up cool gameplay.
I'm thinking that they'll probably do items and boxes that are like, this box literally allows stuff to persist for a week. Something. Right. And you'd have that as your little drug cache. And as long as you interact with it within a week, it
just like Conan,
for another week. Just like Conan, but that sort of thing, or Rust or whatever. Yeah, I mean they can get around a lot of the crazy persistent stuff, because you don't want everything to persist permanently when it comes to people dropping stuff on the ground.
No. And Chris said that would actually break the game, because the game would be tracking billions of items that are irrelevant for nothing. Yeah. So guns, things of value, not like magazines and stuff like
debris.
That. Right.
Insanity.
So moving on, he also was talking about that we kind of already knew this anyways, but they confirmed it, that there's no role of medic. You're a guy who has medical equipment. There's no role of mechanic. You are a guy who has medical equipment or mechanical equipment. So your own skill makes you able to use that device the way it's intended at a higher skill than someone else, which is good. That's confirmation of something that we've heard since 2012. That's always been the intent.
That's not anything new.
Right, but it's been confirmed, which is nice to hear. And you'll need to have the right gear, and that just because you have the right gear doesn't mean that your reputation will let you do the job for someone else at a high paying value. So if you have no experience repairing, even though your character could be very good at it, you would still have to grind up to be able to do the better jobs, for example. Right. And then we also confirmed Prospector's plan for 3.0, but the mining may be rudimentary.
Very straightforward at first.
It's just like point, rocks pop up, kind of like Conan again. And then this is a one that's super important for people, especially those people that have something like a Polaris and they plan to multi-crew it by themselves, like with AI, that you can set a destination, point A to point B. There won't be any, Garmin road navigation. It's point to point. And then as soon as you're interdicted or something like that we talked about before, it'll kick you out and you'll have to react to it. You'll be able to get out of your chair and walk around and do other stuff while traveling, which is, again, nice to break up that time. And then the AI is supposed to have a very high functioning level of capability, that with a simple panel, you tell them what you want to do and they'll be able to do it while you're in another sector. So if you need something fixed, yes.
They don't want it to be Sim Citizen. It's not going to be super micromanaging.
No, general orders like fix the engine or manage the shields or something like that. And then based on the NPC's rating will dictate how well they do that job for you, how much intelligence they put into the job. So that's good news for those people that have very large ships and very small org, that it will be possible. But I will warn you, I know that it's still Chris Roberts' intention that real players will do a better job than the AI. And on top of that, it's going to cost you a ton of money. It may cost you more money to take your Polaris out and fly it to do a job than the job pays. So again, sucks. But that's not the point of the game. Isn't that everyone's in Polarises by themselves? I'm sorry.
No, I think you're right.
Any points on 10 for Tony? Because that was actually a really cool segment. It was very enlightening.
I mean, I think you covered all of it pretty much in your 1
I
minute
haven't
35 video,
seen
to
it.
be honest, Noob.
The video was so much fun.
I mean, I watched that before I did mine and just was like, well, what can I add to this? A load of bullshit. Pat it down. No, that was pretty
I get
solid.
so few opportunities to do that to information.
I suppose the thing that annoyed me is that the title of the video is Professions in Alpha 3.0, but
Yeah.
they didn't really confirm what was in 3.0 or not. They kind of talked a mixture of some stuff which sounds longer term and some stuff that sounds short term.
I suppose
it's salvage in 3.0.
Right. It's not,
you
it's
know?
not confirming anything, really. That's funny.
Do you know from watching that video if salvage is in 3.0? Nope, me neither. That's really annoying. Like, I was like, I think it could be now, but I'm not sure.
There was a lot of trapdoors.
Yeah,
Little
which is
trapdoors.
annoying. And if it's not, then in future do not have clickbait titles like that. Professions in Alpha 3.0 is not appropriate. Professions and Alpha 3.0 would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
But don't mislead me.
Yeah, it is a little clickbaity.
Yeah. It's
Little.
it's misleading if it's not in, because yeah, I mean, because I don't
people
think,
salty.
well, yeah, it makes me salty. It makes me salty, and I'm people. Oh, sorry, yeah. So
Don't
that
forget
wasn't fair.
exclamation questions if anyone has a question for all of us or one of us.
I'm not sure how many we'll get through with Saurus Fin Death.
That's all good.
So-
We can still
We'll power through them.
ask.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So do you want to do Ben's Day?
Yep.
Board?
Let's do
Well, it wasn't Ben's day. It was
Ben Q&A.
one we.
Oh, Ben
Was
Q&A.
that-
My bad. Sorry, it wasn't the Nikki. It was actually.
Well, there was some stuff that Nikki did talk about with Sandy in State of the Game. And the two major things that I want to talk about from that very briefly is that there still isn't any movement on the Star Citizen HOTAS. We don't know anything more at the moment, which is annoying.
I even asked Logitech when I was at PAX about that. Me and Twerk made sure to ask about it. They have no idea.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I really think that they're going through the balance issues, like not issues, but they're defining the balance. So having it like, here's your HOTAS, and then they may make the HOTAS not the optimal controller simply by changing something. So I know that it's something that's been promised from a long time ago, and I know there's a lot of people that are waiting. Like, I'm not going to go buy a Warthog because the Star Citizen HOTAS is coming out, when that was like almost like 3 years ago, right? So it's super frustrating, but the reality is I think it's okay to go buy what you want to learn on now and then decide in the future that if the Star Citizen HOTAS comes out and it's what you want, then you just get it for Christmas from your wife or something.
I mean,
or husband.
we don't 100% know if cruise mode might come back or if they're going to be different buttons. You can't really make an ergonomic controller until you've got nailed down your flight model, know all the buttons, and know how the game's going to play. So I'm kind of glad that that's on hold. Because imagine how annoyed you'd be if that controller is great for 2.6 and then they change a couple of things and it's just not as good as something else that comes out.
And
you'd be really pissed off.
The high tier one wasn't going to be inexpensive either. Like that was what, $400 or $500 with the screen and everything on it, and a little. No, it had a touch screen in it.
It did have a touch screen.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
super
not sure
crazy.
I'm not sure how much it was going to be, but well, I'm glad. I'm glad that it's not being made yet.
Right.
Get that
it's not the
model.
time. It's not the time.
It's not the time.
Right.
We do want stuff now, but some stuff it is best to wait for. A couple of other things. Esports and the next great Star Marine is currently on the back burner. So they do want to have like an esports presence. They do want to have the next great Star Marine, which will be building a helmet in the style of
and the Titan, right?
Next great starship, and then the Titan armor, which I mean, a lot of us are pretty excited for. But that's on the back burner until Squadron 42 Episode 1 is out and 3.0 is out, and then they're going to devote some more time doing stuff like that.
So does that sound like Squadron 42 and 3.0 are going to come out at similar times?
Oh. I mean,
are we going to do that? I don't think so, personally.
It's very much crunch year for them. This is marketing year, hype year. All the hype, the bubble for the hype will burst somewhat if they don't do 3.0 right, and Squadron 42 Episode 1 isn't great, because it needs to be great. because it's going to be like possibly the premiere game on the Lumberyard engine.
Right.
So everything that here needs to, the stars have aligned, but the game needs to be fucking good.
I could see it being Gamescom. Squadron 42 at Gamescom. Squadron 42 at SitCon. I don't think they'll just release it without a con. Because that makes sense. It's a AAA title, right?
I don't know.
I wouldn't. I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't just launch it.
The issue is that we've got no form of timescales to know how much time it actually is necessary. The game could be like 99% done, but they want to polish the shit out of it for another 3 months
and release it at Gamescom.
Yeah, or they might start marketing, and they might go, right, let's actually start doing some paid marketing, and that lead time for that is 4 months. I mean, Sandy mentioned in the Batgirl video, a State of the Game one, that some of the lead times on some of the boxed special editions of the games were between 2 and 6 months. Was it 4 and 6 months or something? So, I mean, and they've only just got the final pass on that. So I'm hoping that's the lesser end of those timescales to get those special editions through. So, I mean, we don't know. We've got no timescales. They're not telling us stuff. It's annoying. I want to know more information. I kind of understand why they don't give us all the information, but I still want it. Give me information about your release dates and be accurate with it.
Matt Sherman basically saying that find someone that releases something at Gamescom. In chat.
Yeah, that was some of the take homes from the State of the Game from Batgirl with Sandy. There was also, we'll go to the Ben thing in a second. Yeah. There was also a little tiny couple of things on Spectrum that I spotted. Track IR will be working again in 2.6.2. It's not going to be like a fully polished, ironed out, solid user experience, but it's going to be working. So that will make a lot of people happy.
Just to expand on what Matt Sherman said, at big conventions is usually when you get the announcements for things, not the launch of things, right?
That makes sense.
So, like, you get BlizzCon, they announce a new character, or PAX, they announce a game coming out, or whatever. They don't really release
because all the media is there. That makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Fair point.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, as they're closer to a release for Squadron 42, whatever the closest they are to whatever convention they're at, they would announce it then. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah, they would show off. They would start the marketing hype then.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Linux support is on the long-term roadmap, so we will have Linux support eventually. They are going to be optimizing the game for Ryzen CPUs, so people that were interested in that. And eventually Star Citizen will be optimized over more and more cores and threads for CPUs. So just bear that in mind. You might not get the best performance for the Ryzen CPU at the moment, but eventually Star Citizen will be significantly more optimized for it. And now we can go back to the Ben Q&A. Sorry.
That's okay.
So there were some ship updates in Ben just randomly talking on Spectrum. And this is why people should hang out on Spectrum and get involved with Spectrum, because the devs are very interactive on that. And you can just ask them what you want, and some of the questions they'll answer. So the Carrack is coming, I believe, this year, they said, but it won't be in 3.0. Some ship prices will change IRL once 3.0 is released, because some of those ships will become flyable. Their status will change.
And that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. And it's like between like $5 and $100 change in prices based on the size of the ship normally. So just bear that in mind. There probably will be a chance to buy those ships before they go up in price. Not always, but sometimes. There is going to be some Banu Merchantman sneaky peekies at some time this month, which is good. But also, the next concept ship is going to be a Banu ship, it appears. So that's probably, and that will be towards the end of March, I think they said.
And there's no real confirmation on what type, right? But the Banu aren't necessarily fighter or whatever. They kind of do the Vagabond, like the whole fighty big ship that can do stuff. So maybe it's a smaller type of well-armed kind of store transport thing. We've
got to assume that it's smaller than a Banu Merchantman.
Yeah.
Surely, because it needs to be the second ship to define the race. And that it's going to be Banu orientated, so maybe it's going to be tradey, multi-role.
It's
It
like a
sounds like they have
freelancer.
their style guide and everything ready to go, and they're going to be building
Yeah.
some ships out for the alien race.
But it also needs to be like make the Banu need stuff to protect their trade ships.
Mhm.
Banu need smaller ships that Banu that can buy,
Mhm.
so they don't know that everyone's flying around in merchantmen. So it just makes sense that it's probably going to be smaller something, probably multi-role because it's Banu. But we'll have to wait and see.
Excited to see what it looks like because that actually, like you say, defines what the future of the BMM looks like.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming we'll see some sneaky peekies of the Banu merchantmen in the concept and the brochures and stuff like that we'll get from that ship.
Yeah.
And that is something that I probably will buy because I've started to fall in love with the Banu. Like, I love the race. I love the tails. But design, they're working on turrets. In fact, they started focusing more on turret gameplay since they started talking about the Hurricane. And that Hurricane is going to be like a test bed for various forms of turret stabilization gameplay, making the game better for turrets, because it's an incredibly important part of what you crew.
Mhm.
And the sooner the better, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Aurora rework is now in progress, so that should be relatively soon.
And that'll be with all the new damage states and everything.
Yeah, and also I am assuming little tweaks to the model, improvements and stuff like that we saw with the Hornets recently. Basically the same similar sort of thing there. Vandal ships from Squadron 42 will be in the Persistent Universe. We kind of knew that already.
Yep.
Docking tech has not been ditched, as some people seem to think. The docking collars, however, that the Cutlasses have currently been put on the back burner.
Right.
Probably not going to have them because they're quite complicated to have with ships moving and
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're looking
Boarding
up.
operations using docking collars, not boarding operations using P-72 onto Connie. Two different kinds of boarding.
Two different things. So they're still going to have those docking with the Connie,
Right.
its parasite ship. So that's still a thing. Terrapin will be flight ready later this year. That's cool. It's actually a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And starter packages and ship packages are going to get a refresh. So I'm assuming we'll see some mixtures of lots of different things with that. I suppose they're getting ready to increase their game, aren't they now? So
Yeah.
So this I see with the update to the store where all the stats will be fixed. This is the perfect time for them to relaunch. Because right now we have a mild selection of ships, and then you almost have to CCU to things when they're available. There are some new ships that have come out that should be a starter. I think the Avenger Titan should be a starter straight up, that you can buy it without having to buy something and then CCU it to that, because it's a good ship and it offers a lot of
So I totally agree with you. The Avenger Titan is like my suggested starter.
Yeah, it's my go-to starter. Yeah.
It's a great ship because it does cargo, it does fight, it looks cool, it has missiles, it has a door. It has pretty much everything you could want. That's really, really good, and it even flies well. So
I think they missed a trick with the referral thing. Like for 10 referrals, rather than give a $90 Gladius like they have, I would give Avenger Titan. Like, it just makes so much more sense. I'd rather have an Avenger Titan than a Gladius.
Well, the nice thing about my Gladius became Cutlass Black.
My Gladius became a Buccaneer.
Even better, yeah. So it's fine, but again, it would be very cool that you go into the store and, for the love of God, CIG, can you please have this is the best value, like a yellow tab on it, just like you do staff picks, like so that people can go in there if they're confused. And they know that they can buy this, and in the future they can upgrade it, but they won't actually be regretful that they missed an opportunity to buy a different ship.
That's a good point, actually. I wouldn't have recommended
start here.
I wouldn't have any recommended things that aren't the starter packages, but I would have like a giant
Icarus fleet pack. Start here.
A golden rim around it, literally saying you have to have a game package. This is your best starting choice.
Right.
Then you have to
just get rid of confusion, and it's a good question that comes up all the time. What's the best starter ship? And you could answer it yourself right on the website. You're the company. This is the best starter ship. This is the best value. Or even make it like $5 less so that there's no question in anyone's mind that it is in fact the best starter package because it's $5 cheaper.
But I'm assuming that's the sort of thing they'll probably look at with the refresh. They will start to market it a little bit. So
I'm just hoping that makes it there, because that would be really cool.
I totally agree with you with that.
Okay.
So concept sales, they do spend some money on marketing for concept sales, but it's things like brochures and time, really, of artists to make their brochures and do the concept shows. They don't buy ads or get like outside commercials from outside contractors or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's going to change in the future at all. Like with the Squadron 42 release and things like that, maybe they will push for some ads because that makes them more money. Have to wait and see. End of March is the most likely time for the next concept ship, which is the new balance ship, which Sherry also mentioned in Quantum Questions. What was the other thing? They do very briefly mention Project Eclipse, the Super Saber 600 series. It's like literally a mention by Ben going, I don't know what these are. And concept sales don't block the releases of other things, so they don't block 3.0 at all. The ship pipeline is pretty solid. Chris likes aggressive schedules because they motivate the team, but they don't always work out. That's basically what he said. We will see grey cat buggies on the surface of moons in the future. What did they say about 2.2, 6.2?
It's in the process.
So they've got 2.6.2 coming out next, but they could see an interim patch before 3.0. It's a possibility. Stuff like that is always a possibility until they 100% feature lock everything. So that's good to know, but there were no estimates or timelines on 3.0, which is always upsetting. I want to know when that's coming out. Hopefully after 2.6.2, we will start to see timelines on
the schedule report or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we all want, isn't it? We just want to be told.
Also, please add the Delta patcher too.
Oh, yes.
Schedule report.
So we know when, it might be out.
Actually, I just want to see if they can't give a timeline on the Delta patcher, tell us what its current state is on the schedule report. Internal build, working internal build, something like that. Great. Yeah. Tell us. We very much appreciate. Planets and first careers are going to be in the next patch. So apparently it's going to be huge, and there's going to be a huge amount more gameplay, and the game's going to make a lot more sense to people. But I suppose Ben would say that because he's able to play on those planets, and I want the planets! They're changing the process for merchandise in the short term to reduce pre-order times and stuff like that. But that does mean, again, in the short term, we're not going to see any items for a little while for merchandise, and then we'll see a lot. I think that's what he meant by that. And the reason there is sound in space in Star Citizen is because it's fun.
Yeah. It is fun. And you got maybe like those people are going to be like, oh my God, it's not realistic. But as a competitive player, I really like to have the skill required, like the skill trade by hearing where it is, and it just adds more to the game. So turn, like you said in your video, Board Gamer, just turn off your audio if you really want that real simulator effect.
Turn off the in-game sound effects and just have your ship computer on. Done.
And then you can roleplay it.
Yeah.
Done.
I think some people will roleplay, and some people will really enjoy that. But I'm going to enjoy my sound in Star Citizen. I'm going to enjoy sneaking up on people, stealth killing, because I can hear in space. But that was kind of it. Unless someone else has got any other points I've missed out on that.
Nope.
Well, that one is good. I wanted to, if you don't mind, I'm going to carry on with two things. One of them I'm going to call Voice Attack Story Time, because Paul from HCS and Gary from Voice Attack, they make, this is going to sound like a commercial, but many of you know, program, it's basically a voice activated macro, but then HCS hires real actors to sit in a studio and get proper voice clips so that it answers appropriately, but high quality. So Phoenix is a voice pack that's going to be coming out before BritizenCon, and it's a no bullshit Star Citizen profile. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about it for right now. Anyways, it's coming, and it's very exciting for me.
Is that because you can't tell us?
No, I'm just letting you guys. This is the first public release that's a thing. It's been a lot of work. I might make a video on the process of it in case anyone's interested. How many pages of text it actually is, how long it takes to record it, and that kind of stuff. And it was well suited to me because I built a studio, like a sound studio, so they didn't need to book time to get this sound studio or anything like that. It was just very simplistic, and Paul gave me the opportunity to do that. So we will be seeing a no bullshit, very, very fast, all you need,
Nice.
right? Because some of the voice packs talk a lot, like I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Next, so Spectrum story time. This one made me very, very happy because this is what I think Redacted's supposed to do, right? Redacted working with the community and CIG, or Turbulent in this case, to get everyone's opinion fleshed out and potentially in the game the way it makes sense. Not that it wouldn't do that anyways, but maybe direction or great minds think alike, etc. So one of my subs called John, just for simplicity, saw a video that I did about Spectrum in December. He took that and fleshed it out as a series of what he would like to do, and then he got his org together, and they all worked on how they can see the progression of Spectrum coming out, like the multiple voice channels and all that other stuff. I took that list, I went through it and added my points and ideas on it, and then I happened to notice, like you just said, Board Gamer, in Spectrum, Balone from Turbulent was online, and I engaged with him and said, hey, do you have a couple minutes? And he said, sure, no problem. And that turned into more than a couple minutes. So thank you very much for your time. And I really appreciate the fact that I got that opportunity. So some of the things we're talking about are things like if there's hacking mechanics within Spectrum, and you could potentially get hacked by another player, that people will choose to not use Spectrum. They'll use Discord or some other thing. So that's one point that we didn't really have a solution for, except that don't put hacking in.
Well,
right?
You've identified something very, very specific that's important, which is Spectrum needs to be competitive. You literally have to make sure that it is the best option for voice comms, or at least there's no better option. If
there's a compromise, if you have a risk of being compromised, like your plan's being heard by some other organization, and you can simply use another thing and mitigate that, then you will. Everyone will. Like, you'd be crazy not to. Another point that we came up with, sorry, I'm going to blast through these because I don't want to waste everyone's time. So permissions for the forums, for the org, for the VoIP, all of that, if anyone's ever seen Discord, how they have it set up, I'm not saying the copy Discord, but they really should. How you can, as an admin, you can go in and say, this guy's a moderator and he has these, but not just for voice, for the forums, for the ships, for everything. Yeah. And if you're a new member, prospect comes in, all of your, across the board, you get access to this in VoIP, you get access to this in the forums, and it's all normal. Like, your tag is done, everything is set. You have to be able to do individuals. Like, if Board Gamer was the finance officer, but he was a new guy, you know what I mean? You could go in and give him his own, but simplicity. Yeah. You have 1,000 people in an org. You don't want to be doing it individually. Command VoIP, necessary to be able to speak with different channels. That could be multiple push-to-talk buttons based on, again, your rank. So I have like left push to talk, I know I'm talking with everybody, and right push to talk only the officers, let's say. It could also be based on hotkeys, just like they had already mentioned, how you'd have a megaphone system inside, like PA system inside the ship is toggle 1 or something like that. Anyways, all of that is necessary, and that's already coming, but it was just interesting to talk to him about that. One idea that we use in the military, and this is super, super effective, at least Canadian military, is command channel is in the left ear and TroopNet is in the right ear. So when I hear someone talking on this side, I know that I have to go flick to the other means to answer him appropriately. And if I key the mic, and I don't need this in the game, but I'm just giving you guys some background. If I key the mic, I'll hear beeping in my right ear. That tells me that I'm transmitting on the wrong net because I heard the guy come in here, and it's an audible cue for me to switch. So it's good. You could, as a leader, you could hear your up and down. Like, you could have that conversation. And I know it works in the military because I've done it, and it works plenty fine. So being able to say command nets in stereo and troop nets in left ear only, that level would be very, very useful. And I hope that makes it into game. And he liked the idea. Next, an on-screen display, an overlay, so that I know if it's red, then it's command net, or green, it's something else. And that could be in your HUD, like whatever they want to do with it. But it's an audible and visual cue would be very helpful. Allowing members of an org that aren't actually in the org yet. So visitors or guests, prospect. I don't want to let the prospect in the org yet. Right now, I have a an org that's locked down, and either you're in or you're not. We need that functionality so that I can recruit people and get them up to speed without, letting them loose in the org.
But also have guest roles and
right,
stuff,
just like Discord. It's actually exactly like Discord.
Organizing alliances. I mean, alliances are going to be important that way, and you're going to have people that coordinate between two particular orgs, and they use guest roles. So prospects and guests and friends and like you say, allegiances, alliances, Fleet View, we have a great opportunity with this, that if I had like 2 javelins and I didn't want my wife to know, that I could make it not visible, but you could open up, you could show the org what ships you want to show, so that other org members can know that we have 200 Idaruses we don't need anymore. We're going to go buy some hull whatevers, right? So that functionality, because right now we're managing that potentially on an Excel sheet, and it's messy and it's not automatic, and people buy a ship and they haven't updated the thing, and it's just a hot mess. So with that, if Board Gamer and I, or Soros, you and I were in the same org, you could be the 2 IC of my character, and if I wasn't on board, it would automatically know based on the settings that I've preset, that if I'm not on the ship, like if I drop out, that you have 100% control over the ship. All that could be set in Spectrum prior to, maybe while you're driving home from work, you're playing on the iPad. Okay, so that's one other thing, and so that's really where we were going with that Spectrum story time, and that's the kinds of things that we're trying to push from the community to CIG to maybe get, because I really want that. To me, that's next level stuff. And I would almost expect nothing less than that, or else people will go somewhere else. The whole point is one-stop shop. Yeah.
I have only one more thing before questions, if you want, and I know we're getting to the point anyways. For any of you who've seen it, I fly with a double Warthog, a left and right-hand Warthog. The guy who made it, Okona, if you remember, he's been taking orders, but he hasn't been well. He's starting to take orders now. And another thing he's working on is a pewter gimbal. So the Warthog itself is made out of plastic inside. It's very good until it breaks, and then it's garbage. So I don't know, just next level stuff for those of you that don't like money in your pocket. Maybe a good place to throw it. And that's really all I have. Hopefully that was interesting.
All right. And thanks for taking the spear on that. We're going to jump into questions. I'm going to burn through these really quick. I don't want to be dwelling on questions. I feel like shit.
No worries, man. No worries. Thanks for doing the podcast, though, man.
So Libertas says, do we have any updates on the next concept ship sale or sales? Do we have any... Okay, so that's one question. First question would be yes. I think we answered that a little bit earlier. We think it's going to be the new Banu ship by the end of this month.
Yeah.
Also, do we have any updates on releases for 262? Exclamation point ETA in chat. And 3.0? Nope. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your content. Thank you so much. Glad you're here watching.
We should see a possible live release of 2.6.2 by March 23rd, I think. That's the earliest.
That was the schedule, but...
Yeah.
Next question. For 3.0, are they going to give everyone access to at least a rover to explore planets? Or are backers going to have to buy a rover Dragonfly? Don't know. Next question. Steel Bear.
But normally in PTU, they do give it to you for a week. Or, well,
yeah,
PTU's
they may.
In the PTU, but you're probably about to buy one in-game with in-game funds during that time. Probably. Maybe.
Possibly. Steel Bear. Question for all of us. Do you think Squadron 42 will be released this year? Just personal opinion.
Yes.
Yes,
I would be very, very disappointed, as would the entire planet be.
I'm going to say it's going to be very close if it makes it.
They were supposed to have a vertical slice at Games or SitCon, and I'm not saying that that's an indicator. They need to have it out before the end of the year, in my opinion. I'm sorry, that's blunt, but yeah.
Alberto Del Basso says, "Do you think there should be a leaderboard for jobs, like the best 100 in a certain job? If that is done, do you think it'll be good or bad?" I understood that's sort of what whole job
that's
board.
What the jobs well is. The jobs well is, in fact, your reputation.
I'm hoping that we see APIs that we can rip data like that for, and that users will make websites like that. That we will have players going, well, I've made this cool website that lists everyone's jobs, how good they are at them, and people can leave feedback there. Stuff like that. I'd love that. I think that'd be sodding great. You can even have it as an app in your mobile glass.
Everyone loves stats.
Yeah. Aurora Unit says, what do you guys think is the most crucial change in the upcoming any of the upcoming releases, i.e. netcode, graphic performance, gameplay content, etc.? Delta Patcher.
Planets. Okay, so for me, it's the big map. What the fuck's it called?
Mega Map
For multiplayer. That to me is going to be very,
it's
very
no good if
It's
people can't download it.
Okay, hater.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things.
Delta Planet,
netcode,
mining. That could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the Delta Patcher is just so essential, though. Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
You gift Delta Patcher, please.
Yeah. Then we can start to feed stuff out in a drip rather than big chunks.
Yeah.
C Dizzle says, with Star Citizen being either your main or only game you use for content, would you prefer the projected 3.0 implementations to come out in small chunks per patch or all at once?
Small chunks.
Small chunks, yeah.
I mean,
Delta, that's why I want the Delta Patcher.
Delta Patcher. Yeah.
But at the same time, if doing small chunks equals the game coming out a year later because they're trying to do small chunks, then
that's not the argument. The argument is they put it out when it's done, when it's ready.
Right.
So, this ship is ready, put it out in its own patch. We need to fix missiles, put it out in its own patch. Instead of waiting to accumulate everything and then push it all out, and then some things are broken.
The community and killing the content.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
Saves them so much money. Means the PTU stuff is so much easier for them to do. It's just so much better stuff.
Yeah. Alberto De Basso, in with some more questions. Do you think medical supplies? Do you think there should be medical supplies provide for the auto dock, so it just can't magically hear you? Yes. I think there should be a supply.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck it. Why not?
Steel Bear for a Nubifier. When will Track IR get fixed?
Soon. 2.6.2 apparently to some degree.
Yeah.
C Dizzle says, since you have different interests in which career types you're likely going to spend the most time doing, what do you think is the most important thing CIG have to implement about your choice? For piracy, mercenary, or bored egg farmer?
So mean.
Oh, if I just had my caterpillar full of chickens running around.
Open the doors and just let them.
Interdiction and the ability to board. I think boarding is the most important for me.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be the most difficult. And the same for noob, actually.
Yeah. But from the opposite side, right?
Yeah. But same mechanics. And
I mean, it's all economy and industry based for me. I mean, I want the reasons to fight are going to be driven mainly by the economy in some way. Whether that be because miners are making money or because traders are trading, that pirates come along and that sort of stuff. So doing the economy right, super important.
Yeah. Next question from Inner Hype. Board Gamer, did you explain everything you've seen at the UK office yet?
No, and I can't. But I've done a video on it, stuff I can talk about.
About the stuff you can talk about.
Yeah.
And usually those NDAs last for a while. I know that when I was down in Austin, there's still stuff that hasn't come out.
So what I'll say is about NDAs, whether it's for either Carty or NDAs based on office tours, or pretty much most NDAs. NDAs never stop. Yeah. They are persistent, like Star Citizen's trying to be. So even after something's released, you should honour the NDA to the extent, the spirit of the NDA that I.
The whole point is if you see something that's not out, then and it never came out.
And don't talk about it.
Or it might be some form of controlled release for marketing purposes, or for bartering purposes, or for reasons that CIG don't want that out there yet. Like it might not be locked down.
You specifically asked CIG questions about what you could and couldn't release for that video. I know that you had that information from a long time ago, and you were sitting on it.
I was lucky to be able to say anything because next time I go to a CIG tour, I'm going more as press. That was very much that I went there as a person.
Get sources IRL thing. Just video everything.
I don't think they'd let me in the office for that. I was
no, they would. There'd be no fucking way.
I'm messing with you.
I was a monster at the tour. I went to the toilet and I was looking at boards. I would have rifled around people's desks if they weren't looking. I genuinely would have. I would have looked at everything I could for more information. I'm a monster. So I understand why they lock you into NDAs.
2 more questions. A little bit of madness says, "Will you play as your real life gender in game?" Yep. I always make my characters as close to me as possible. Bored? We'll assume he'll play as an egg. Citizen Shenanigans says, "On Spectrum, will moderators outside of orgs have access to org forums and chat? This may be exploited." Well, I think it's not necessarily moderators, but the roles that you assign to people have, like what Noobify was talking about earlier, it's more than just chat, more than just voice chat, and more than forums.
That's not what I think the question is. If one of the moderators in the forum is part of Renegade Squadron, will they be able to look at enemy contacts form because they're a moderator? That's the question.
Like a CIG moderator.
Right, because it's moderated by volunteers.
Right.
And those volunteers are players. So that one, yes, that is a very good question I'm going to ask. It's definitely something
that I think that's something that'll eventually turn into a paid position, I think.
Exactly. And then you'll have an impartial moderator who's just looking for people being naughty.
Yeah. Impartial moderator. Right. You've said a unicorn word.
Yeah.
Well,
that doesn't exist.
You're right. It has to get moderated, and you can't give up your secrets. You can't run the risk of putting stuff on the forum, because then we're going to do exactly like we did before and put it on Discord or put it somewhere else and no one will use it. So very good question, and thank you for that, because I'm going to get to the bottom of that one. That's it.
Yeah. That is it. So, Board, what are you up to this week? Where can people find you?
I'm going to be playing Star Citizen and doing videos on Star Citizen. It's the same thing I do every week, Binky. No, what's going on? Try to make Star Citizen videos. So there's a VR meetup that I might be going to tomorrow. So that'll be cool.
That'll be fun. Dude, Paranormal Activity came out today for the Vive. Sorry.
Oh man. You wouldn't get me in that.
Yeah.
No.
I have my heart rate monitor. I'm gonna, as soon as I'm not feeling like shit, I'm gonna set it all up.
I'll gladly watch you play it.
So if I didn't think there could be some form of permanent damage to my heart from playing that, I would do a stream on the Vive with a heart rate monitor. Because I promise you, Saurus, my heart rate medically will be significantly higher than yours throughout.
I stick around 70 to 80 as a peak. Stacy, I guess, was playing Outlast the other day, and she bumped up to 150.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Is it 180 when you die?
When you die, like something like that. Yeah.
Heart just.
Oh my god! Like yeah.
Sounds like fun though.
I'll watch you play that, Saurus. I will watch you play the
the heart rate going.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. But yeah, I'm not doing anything else other than making Star Citizen videos like I normally do. Maybe going to a VR meetup and analysing the news and stuff. I do, however, want people to message me if they have questions for CIG employees. I am going to attempt to go to every conference and thing I possibly can and ask questions and then feedback questions to people. I want to be able to do Star Citizen based journalism and not just as a fan for Star Citizen, but ask difficult questions sometimes. So if people have got questions about anything that they think like Chris or Aaron or high level people might be able to answer, I'm going to get a compendium of them and ask them when I see them. Mm-hmm. So send me questions. If you've got genuine good questions, I'll steal them. What about you, Source? What are you doing?
I'm not streaming after this. I'm going to recover as much as I can. I'll still be streaming my normal time at 11 o'clock. I'll see how far we can go each day. Hopefully this only lasts like a day or two. That's usually how the PAX Pox works. But I feel like shit. I just want to get into pajamas and curl up on the couch and just watch TV or something. And just eat chicken noodle soup. You can find me at twitch.tv/WTFosaurus and on twitter.com/WTFosaurus as well. And that's Noobify. Did we cover you? Noobify, what are you doing?
Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
So,
Twerk.
Obviously, I mean, this is I've been on a couple times. Twerk will be back. It's just that
Twerk will be back next week.
Yeah. He's delayed by the snow. Thanks a lot, Mother Nature. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for having me on. It's always fun. So what I'm working on right now for you is I'm only on YouTube. Sorry for if you wanted to see me live, this is your place. Cargo, part of the job series. All the cargo is going to get fleshed out. I'm going to be tracking any changes for 2.6.2 as they come out. No bullshit, a la noob. Track IR. I'm going to go get my Track IR. I'm going to dust it off and I'm going to make sure it still works because it's not worked for a while. Yep. And believe me, that I was very much into even before I started making YouTube content. So expect a lot of that. I'm going to try to contact Track IR to find out if they can do anything from their end or if they need to try to up the support. And then obviously tracking the normal info as it comes out and putting it back to you guys. Boom. Fast.
Boom,
That's
fast.
about all I got.
Bam. And where can people find you?
Oh, yes. On YouTube, Noobifier1337, and at the Noobifier on pretty much any social media except LinkedIn. Don't care about LinkedIn.
Don't care about the LinkedIn.
No.
All right, guys.
Had a sponsorship deal from LinkedIn, $20 million.
Oops.
Oh.
20 million. It's gone.
It's okay.
gone,
We don't
man.
want them. I don't care about the money.
Oh, no.
Imagine.
Oh, no.
All right, guys.
Thanks
This
very
is what
much.
we're gonna do. We're gonna send everybody over to a new Twitch friend of mine from PAX Loco.
Nice.
She is playing Mass Effect 3 right now. So we're gonna throw that in there. And if you want to go say hello over here. Here it is here. I'll just type a little WTFO hi in there. Make sure.
Don't forget to spam the emotes.
Spam the emotes. And yes. I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you all in the face. Thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm all shitty and gross. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.